Which journey are you on? The one committed to being inspired, or an elusive pursuit of happiness? One of my favorite authors, Ryan Holiday, once said, there's the event itself and the story we tell ourselves about what it means. So, when you're experiencing little moments daily, are you taking the time to reflect about what they mean? Or are you just merely existing? In 2009, I was just merely existing. I was heartbroken over a failed, abusive relationship. I was laid off from the job that I thought would become my profession after graduating undergrad. I was handed a check for about $4,000, and I was told to move on with my life. At the time, I believed that society's only formula for success was happiness. And because I was depressed, I must have been failing. So, I decided to leave everyone and everything that I loved in Columbus, Ohio, and drive 1,141 miles to Hollywood, Florida, that is. And along the way, I passed one of the tallest crosses I had ever seen standing. And I thought, I hope that's just a small sign that I'm doing the right thing, and that I'm going where I'll be happy. I arrived to a one-bedroom, freshly painted apartment, but each room remained void of any indication that I intended to stay long-term. I unpacked my few belongings, which included my laptop, television, my Ohio State blanket, and my pillow. And every night, I slept on the living room carpet floor. And every morning, I would wake up to the sun blanketing the golf course that could be seen outside of my patio glass doors. And despite looking over this beautiful golf course, a view I had never seen in my life, I still could not figure out why I didn't feel happier. And that's when I realized the pursuit of happiness was no longer working for me. I was exhausted emotionally, and I became desperate for a more authentic approach to living. And then, as random as it sounds, this sudden urge came over me to start painting. And what made this so unusual is that I was neither a trained artist nor someone actively engaged in the arts. But I did recall a time as a child when I categorized colors into emotions, and I thought I could start here. Here's how I initially categorized a few of them. And so I thought I could choose the colors that matched my level of depression, and that would give me an opportunity to explore how I was really feeling and honor that. With this direction, the first piece I created was this. The ballerina's stage presence indicates her desire to impress upon her spectators and admirers, to move with grace, to achieve perfection, all while looking into this crowd where all she sees is darkness. And as if that ballerina were me. The darkness represents the depressive state I was in, and the near nudeness of the ballerina illustrates how exposed I felt. Although I knew supportive people existed just a phone call away, I never asked them to listen. I was embarrassed. I truly believed that society had these unfairly prejudicial views about anxiety, mental illness, depression. And the way I handled my own depression proved that I could not accept anyone else experiencing it too. But when I saw what I completed on the canvas, That was inspiring. To look up and see these deep, dark feelings, emotions transformed into this beautiful work of art left me feeling fulfilled. And then I thought, maybe I don't have to just be happy to achieve fulfillment. Allison Beard is a writer for Harvard Business Review's Emotional Intelligence series, and she said that society's elusive pursuit of happiness is like a modern obsession with feeling happy and thinking positively. And she thinks that what people really desire is just long-term fulfillment. My theory is this: to achieve long-term fulfillment, we should be seeking inspiration, not happiness. See, as humans, at our core, we uniquely experience a colorful range of emotions. And these emotions arise in all of the little moments that we experience daily. Little moments can either be expected or unexpected, but they are completely unavoidable because they are the fractions of time that, when added together, equate to the total substance of our lives from birth until death. Examples include each step that you make in your physical movement or your conversations with a stranger. And in these little moments, inspiration comes alive. Inspiration is the stimulant that causes us to act in rational, intelligent, and creative ways to advance us on our journey. Now, I believe in the power of meeting people at the right time, for which the right reasons always reveal themselves. So, it was no coincidence that just as I was in my final preparations of this speech, I met this fierce woman named Ashley. And she introduced me to Dr. Brené Brown's power of vulnerability, which happens to be the missing part of my theory. See, Dr. Brown's research led her to discover that vulnerability is not only what allows us to be enough for ourselves, but it is also the center source of creativity and imagination. And I am certain that it is this source that allows us to create solutions, to build the impossible, and to prove the improbable. Sometimes we hinder our ability to be inspired because we think that certain experiences will conjure up difficult or undesirable emotions, and we fear that. But if we want to live authentically, and if we want to live beyond just merely existing, we must be vulnerable to this process, because that is when we open ourselves up and we empower ourselves to this unlimited series of possibilities to be inspired. A few months ago, I created this. One of the first people that spoke to me when I arrived in South Florida was this tall, charming man who, without introduction, context, or follow-up, simply approached me and said, "You're really gonna love it here." Now imagine that, a stranger saying to you those simple words, a little moment that passes in less than a few seconds. But fast forward to now. That phrase for the past 9 years has been my constant call to action whenever I have needed a reminder to stay inspired. So it only seemed appropriate that I invite him here today so that I could say thank you. Thank you for being such a big part of that first little moment that inspired me beyond my depression in 2009. He's here among all of you with our family, our children, and our friends. And that little moment has inspired me to make so many achievements since 2009. Right now, the most important aspects of my life are my being a wife, a mother, a daughter, a lawyer, an artist, and a writer. And I decided a long time ago that I do not have to choose just one of these in order to be successful. But what's better than that is now where I am in my life, I am able to say out loud that I do not experience happiness in all of those aspects of my life at all times. And I don't have to. I don't have to always feel happy in order to qualify myself as fulfilled. Because fulfillment generously flows from just knowing how to feel my emotions when they arise, how to pay attention to all the little moments that I experience, and to receive the inspiration that comes from them all. A few months ago, I created this. And it is vastly different from where I started, both as an artist and as someone trying to figure out how to live with depression. But I do not diminish what I created when I was attacked by my depression in 2009. I don't diminish that. But hopefully you can see the journey in my work. I look at how far I've come and I am so proud because I see all of the inspiration that I have received. Now, I'm not asking you to give up on being happy. In fact, I hope you all experience it many times throughout your life. But I am asking you to be vulnerable, be emotional, experience it all. Know that the little moments you experience matter most. Always choose commitment. Be authentic, creative, rational. Always be aware and accepting. And if you do these things, you will find fulfillment in your life. And I really think you're going to love being inspired. The most important aspects of your life will change. Examples include the city that you call home, the job that you call your profession, the people that you lose or leave behind, the people that you love, the number of children you raise, or the stories that you share. But if you continue to focus on this elusive pursuit of happiness, these changes and others will leave you wondering whether or not you are actually happy, or whether happiness is meant for you. So minimize your expectations about what happiness can do for you. Redirect your focus away from a narrow focus on happiness. Change your desires and instead commit to being inspired. Because for me, my commitment to being inspired means that I no longer just exist. Now, every day, I choose to tell myself inspirational stories about what all the little moments I'm experiencing mean. So what inspirational stories could you be telling yourselves if you just transitioned your journey to be a more fulfilling and authentic one? Aren't you ready to live beyond just merely existing? Because if you are, please, please join me in seeking inspiration, not happiness. Thank you.